Hi, hello folks. It's been a wee while since I've done a video, but I'm going to do a video on the MMDVM Hat and using an older Raspberry Pi version 2. Now I've got a number of these and they were basically just sitting around and doing nothing, and I thought it was about time I thought about what to use them for. So as we know, the MMDVM Hats, the connector is set up for a 40-pin GPIO, and these are only 28. And I thought, it might work, it might not. But I discovered that the pins that the hats actually work on are on the first 5 sets. The last ones are used for updating the firmware. I thought, I'm not one for updating firmware unless I really need to, if there's a glitch or a bug. But certainly the 1.5 or something like that, I think it comes with 1.53, works fine, no problems at all. I have updated them to 1.6, don't notice any difference, to be fair. Doesn't do anything different that I've noticed. Anyway, the Pi 2s, the big issue is, as we can see, there's a video output socket here, which essentially means that the hat won't fit on it. So I thought, I'll take one out. So I took the socket off and then installed the MMDVM Hat. The end of it rests against this audio socket, and put in the Pi Star and loaded up, and works. It's actually alright. Slow, yes, that's the first thing I will say. It is slow, but in actual fact, the current consumption is considerably lower. And the reason the current consumption is lower is because clock speed is less, etc. And it doesn't require quite as much. So that might be an advantage if you're running it on the likes of power bank or so and so forth. And it tends to make it run overall cooler. It still could probably do with heat sinks on the chips. But I've been running one with this like this for quite some time, but not a bit of an issue at all. Now, these little cases, in fact, are very cheap. They're only about £2 or £3 off Amazon. They're just a simple little plastic case. It's the wrong way around. Just a simple little plastic case. It just clips together. Of course, it doesn't work with the hat. So what I had to do with this one is I had to cut it so as it fits. It's not exactly elegant, but it does the job. And the other thing you need to do is just a little bit of security for the hat. A little bit of hot melt here on the edge of the board towards the audio socket, and also a little bit in here, and also a little bit underneath the antenna on the printed circuit board. Sorry, my hand is in the way. I've got to use the phone here for my videos. So there we are, that's how it's done. Now, once you've flashed your SD card with the Pi Star, obviously you then need to get into it to configure it, set everything up. Now it's important you do that, obviously. Now I find that the easiest way is not to do this any other way than on Ethernet. And basically what you're going to do is, once it's kind of loaded up, you might find the screen doesn't light up because you've got settings to do, but give it 5 minutes. That's what I find, is they'll give it 5 minutes, and when they're kind of flashing on the Pi itself, it kind of slows down. You know it's more or less going to be loaded, but 5 minutes is fine. So what you need to do at that point, once you put the SD card in, etc., and loaded everything up, you need to connect it to your computer, and you need to look for it. Now the easiest way to look for it is to go into your router, right? Interrogate your router and see what shows up, and it will show up as Pi Star. So take a note of the IP address that it gives you, come off what you're doing, and then put the IP address in. Now I'm going to show you some of the steps as best I can how to do this. This is already configured and already working, so there's no point in me going through that, but I will give you enough information to do it. So many amateurs seem to balk at this, think, oh, I can't do that. No, that's not the case. Yes, you can do it. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. It's just following the steps on the Pi Star website. It will tell you how to do it, and this small video here that I'm doing as well. If you follow that, it'll work. It'll work every time. So there's no need to worry about it. There's no need to get yourself in and if it is about it's not going to work. I've not been doing this very long. I've only been doing this for 2 months, and that's all. Then there's people out there that have been doing it for years. So we have an Ethernet lead from the router. This is the Ethernet lead, and I'm probably have to put the phone down a couple of times because I might not be able to do this like I hope to. Well, the wee lug's broken off this incidentally. So you need to make sure that your wires and everything is connected up first before you even attempt to power it up, right? Make sure everything's in, right? So let me just, the lug's broken off this, just let me put my phone down. While I've got my phone down, I'll just make sure that's properly inserted, and it seems to be, so that's fine. So I'm now going to power it up, and I'm running the power bank, switch the power bank on, and here we go, that's it starting to load. Now, as I say, this will take a few minutes because they are quite slow, these older Pi 2s, but a lot of people have got these lying about in their junk box. You can pick them up for virtually nothing, yeah, and it's good to see something of this age actually doing their job, and maybe we're making use of it. Now, I'll try and zoom in as close as we can. There you are, Raspberry Pi version 1.2. It's a Pi 2 or a Pi B, whatever you want to call it. So that's, as I say, that is the very early version. So as I say, it does take a good few minutes to load. But once you've done this, you'll see your IP address on here, and you won't need to interrogate your router. The purpose of this video is for people that want to do this Wi-Fi, but I do believe, honestly, I do believe the best way to do this is to do this on Ethernet first. That way you are not getting all muddled up, you're not getting through the possibilities that your Wi-Fi is not working, etc. I use Linux Mint for downloading everything, for using Berliner Etcher to put it onto the card. I find sometimes Windows doesn't always work right, and I know that people are doing it on a Mac. Sometimes it doesn't work very well on a Mac, but the point I try to make to people is this is a Linux-based system on the Pi, and we're talking about a Linux-based system on Mint. Now, okay, some might not agree. I'm quite happy for people who don't agree. That's not a problem with me. But I've always found it actually works much easier and much quicker. So here we are. We now have a readout. I wonder if I can focus in. Probably not. Actually, the IP address has changed. Hold on a minute. This doesn't like this. Let's say, I'll zoom in, it doesn't work properly. Anyway, you see it's there. I can see it in my eyes. That's the important thing. 169, 254, 171, It's a very unusual IP address it assigned itself to. Anyway, we'll go and see if it works, shall we? So what we do is we click on that. We just keep it blue, right, on the header, and we start to type in the numbers. So that's 169 dot 254 dot 171 dot 81. I think that's 81. Let me just, yeah, 81. It's a bit small, but if you struggle with it, a wee magnifying glass, you'll see it fine. So hopefully that is correct. We'll see, shall we? Certainly taking its time, which is pretty unusual. They normally would come in quicker than this. It's a very unusual number for that. It might just be the fact that in this instance, right, I do have a wireless dongle plugged in, and it's possibly connected to my phone, which is again an issue in this case. So what I might have to do here, guys, unfortunately, And this is good that we're showing it this way today, because you can understand how sometimes you can land up with problems, right? And that's maybe why this isn't working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull I'm just going to set the phone in my lap again, and I'm going to disconnect the Pi Hut wireless dongle, because this is set up, remember. So this is probably the reason. Right, let's disconnect that, take that out of there. Right. Now, I've removed it, but that doesn't necessarily mean to say that this is now going to work, because it will take some time to revert, and sometimes it won't revert unless we do a reboot. Now, this is where sometimes some of the problems arise, and I put this scenario in here with this in today simply because what I want you to do is to actually see some of the pitfalls you can have if you don't do it firstly on Ethernet, right? So I'm just going to, it's not flashing, that's all right, the main one's not flashing, so we can disconnect that. Now, this is another thing, plugging it in without a proper reboot is wrong. You shouldn't be doing that, simply because you could cause a corruption on the SD card. And I advise anybody that's running one of these, run it 24/7, don't disconnect anything, just keep it going. If you've got it in your home, run it 24/7, won't do any harm. It won't blow anything up, it won't go on fire. It will just do what it's supposed to do. So like I say, we're now loading it back up, and hopefully this time we will get a different IP address, because we are now on Ethernet, right? So that's the thing. Now we'll see how this pans out in this case. Hopefully it'll pan out all right, and we need to put the dongle back in once we've got it back up and running, and we'll see if this operates the way it should be. Now this is where an awful lot of people fall down, and this is where they give up, and this is where they say, oh, I can't do it, and I can't do this, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Just approach it in a logical manner, and you will get there. You'll get there in the end, and you'll get the job done. I'd expect the screen to come up probably within about another 10 to 15 seconds, and then we should probably get to something in on the screen with the correct, there we go. So there you go, it's a different IP address, and the reason was, I was right, it was actually trying to do through the RF, the Wi-Fi, and probably to my phone, because I did have it on that yesterday. So, but I want to show you these steps. My fault for not taking that out. Right, okay, let's go again. Let's put the information into this. So 192.168.1.16. There you go. Hopefully it'll work. There you go, that's it up. So that's what we're looking for. Now we need to go into configuration, right? And this is the configuration. The username is PiStar, and the password is Raspberry, unless you change it. And at the moment, PiStar is telling to change it. They're wanting us to change it. Now, I think that's a complete waste of time. As you can see, it says, security alert, your dashboard is using a default password. Change it now from the configuration page. Why? It doesn't have your banking on it. It doesn't have your personal details on it. There's a firewall in your router. What is the point? Just stick with that one. There's no need to change that. That's a complete and utter waste of time. So what we have to do is basically we have to set up all these what you do is you only apply the changes to one section at a time, right? If you've changed things here, you apply the changes. You can't do them all at the one time. You've got to do one section. So what to do is try and do all the sections at the one time. For instance, your OLED, these ones are type 3. Modem is the port, right? I'm on YSF mode here, etc. We're on simplex. These things you don't need to change. As it comes out of the box, that's how it's set. I never changed them. So if you're doing DMR, you click that. You can have them both. We can have them both at the same time, but you can only get into one at a time. I don't do DMR. I don't like it. So I do D-Star and I do YSF, but I have a separate one for D-Star, so I don't need to do this. But this is one I'm doing for somebody else. So YSF mode is on. OLED modem. Don't touch that. G4KLX is what we leave it at. So I don't need to change anything here because it's already done. This is the frequency you want to transmit at. There's quite a lot of gateways around about here. So move them around a bit. There's certain parts of the band you can't go to. Just check on the band plan where you can go. And if you do have any issues, phone up, speak to somebody in the RSGB. They'll tell you where to put it. Latitude. It's a decimal figure, incidentally. Longitude, decimal yet again. The town, this is going to Darvel. Private, you can put it to public. I don't see any difference. It doesn't seem to work when you put it to public. It's supposed to let anybody in. It doesn't. So I just leave it in private. If you want APRS, so shut up the APRS map where you are. Put it on. I'll put it on. Doesn't. Why not? So again, that's that. The other thing is if you're using an FT70D, you need that on, and you need that on. So if you're using a 70D, put it on. To be fair, if you're using any user radio, put it on. So then we come down to a bit where we've got something else going on, which doesn't show up at the moment because at the moment there's no access into Wi-Fi. Now, I need to put the dongle back in, but whether or not it will show back up is another story. I might have to reboot it. Anyway, let's see. I'll put the phone back down again until I plug the dongle back in, and we'll see what that does. So that's the dongle back in. We need to give it a good couple of minutes and see whether or not this comes up. There are other settings that need to be done, but they're in the kind of more expert settings, and that is for the screen. If you don't change these, you will have a blank screen. Maybe I'll show you that at the moment while that's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Let's see. Oh, the other thing is you could put it onto a reflector or a room, and it's on GBCQ UK C4 FM worldwide. It's probably quite quiet at the moment. I don't think there's much doing, but anyway, that's fine. So what we need to do now is go into expert. And I'll be quite honest with you here, I always forget which one it's in, which is easy to do. It is easy to do. You tend to forget it. Right. Try again. Why has it kicked me off? Don't know why it's kicked me off. That's strange. We're still 192.168.1. I wonder if that's fallen out. Maybe because that's not a very good plug. It might just be that. Well, I don't think so. Right, let's just go back. I'll just put it back in again. It's rebooted. It's okay, it's rebooted. And it's rebooted simply because I plugged in the dongle, I think. Let's see if it comes. There you go, it's come back. There we are. It's because, like I say, it does take a minute or two to do it. So, I'm just trying to think the one it is. I need to go to, is it might be system cron, I don't know, I can't remember. No, it's not that one. Wi-Fi, nope. Pi-Star remote, nope. DMR gateway, time server, host, DMR, NXDN, DAPnet. Is it CSS tools? Oh, I think it might be that. No, it's not that. No, it isn't that. Now, this is the thing. This is a raw video. And sometimes when you're doing a raw video, it's probably the best way to do it. DAPnet's not that. Not that. I just don't know. I can never remember which one it is. It's not remote. DMR gateway, it's not that. IRC gateway, time server, MMDVM. I think it might be that one. Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're going down. We're looking for OLED. Right, so your OLED needs to have a brightness either 1 or 2. It usually comes with 0, so you need to change that to 1 or 2. And LogoScreensaver, you need to put that to 1, and then you apply it, and that will make sure your screen is on, so you can see what's going on. So there we are. So that was in, let me just go through it again. That was in, aye, forgotten. Anyway, maybe if you go back over the video, you'll see it. Sorry about that, guys. So I now need to go back to configuration. And we should have the bit at the bottom now. There you are. So we now have this piece at the bottom that we didn't have before. And that is, now remember, you're still able to do this. And that is what you want so that you can connect it wirelessly. So you click on configure Wi-Fi. Okay. And scan for networks. Takes about 10 seconds or so. So actually I find it usually takes a bit longer than 10 seconds to find them, to be honest with you. There we go. Now it's not found any, and it should do. For some reason it hasn't found them. Why, I don't know. But that's not a big issue, to be honest with you. It's not a big issue at all with this, because all you do is you put your router name in there, in the top one, SSID, right? And under it, you put in your, your password, right? And you put save and connect. Once you've done that, it won't connect. You go to power, right? And you go to reboot. You reboot it. And once you've rebooted it, it'll come up and it'll work on your Wi-Fi. So there are some anomalies on it. It seems to be the way it works. It seems to be the way the system works. But if you do it this way, you'll find it will work. Now, as I say, this is a very raw video. It's very, it's not a video that I would say is the best, but you've seen the pitfalls, you've seen how it might not work right, and so on and so forth. So if you follow the situation, especially on these older ones, if you follow it right, and what I've discovered is if you do it right, you take the the dongle for the Wi-Fi dongle out. These don't have Wi-Fi built in, these older ones, so you have to have a dongle with it. But you take it out and you let it boot up on Ethernet. Now, there's one more thing to show you as well as on this, and what it is. You have what is known as let me go to the page. Hold on a second. So you're looking for Pi-Star setup Wi-Fi, right? And this is another way of doing it, right? So you go to Pi-Star Wi-Fi Builder, right? So this is what you have here. You've got your GB, which is, you must make sure that's always set to Great Britain, not to any other country, because it won't work. The SSID is the name of your router. Type it in as it is, caps if it's necessary, lowercase if it's necessary, and so on. And the same with the password, right? So what you do is you put that in. You must do it right. If you make any errors, it's not going to work, right? You submit your query, and what happens is it then comes up onto your downloads, and it will go into your download folder. So on here, what I do is I go to my downloads here. Now remember, I'm running Mint, Linux Mint, and I'm looking for supplicant, which is that WPA_supplicant config, right? If you've done it twice, it will come up with a bracket with 1 in it, or 2 in it, or 3, depending on how many times you've downloaded it. You must go to rename, right? Go to rename, and you must get rid of that bracket and that number in it, because if you don't, it won't work. Remove it so that it looks like this, WPA_supplicant config, right? You put your SD card back into your computer and you go to the boot file, right? It will come up with 2 files. So you got the boot file, bring that on, and all you do is copy and paste or drop it in to the boot file right at the end, right? And that's it. So that'll mean that when you plug it in and your dongle back in, make sure your dongle's back in, right? Disconnect your Ethernet, let it boot up, it will work. That's actually the easiest way of doing it, is with it dropping the supplicant into the boot file, and it will work perfectly. So I can assure you it's not that difficult. If you do it that way, you should see on the screen its IP address, and then you can go in that way. And that can be one way that you don't need to do it with the Ethernet. But I've always found it's actually easier to get everything else set up first, because sometimes that does not light up, as I say, to start with. So you don't see your IP address. That's the problem. Although you should be able to interrogate your router, and to interrogate your router you should see it. Now, here we go again. I shall show you how. I think I've already been there actually, haven't I? I was. I'll just go back to it about the router. 192.168, which is mostly the same for every router, 1.1, although some are different. Right. So it's already logged in, so there you go, that's my router. And connected devices, this is wired at this particular time, and that's its number. No, it's not. No, because that's one of the other ones. Pi star, it's this one here, 16. That's it. Right, I have a few running, to be honest with you. So there's quite a few of them showing up. So there you go. That's the IP address it's on. And sometimes you just allocate it an address, and that's it, a static address. That might be the best way, but I don't. I know some people do. And of course, connected devices, you've got wireless connections as well. But at the moment, it won't be there. Right. I don't know whether it might. No, I haven't got the supplicant in this one simply because this is not for me. This is not one of the ones that I'm having. But you've seen the anomalies. You've seen what the video's about. It's not that difficult. You can do it. You can do it the two different ways I've showed you with the Ethernet cable. But remember, if you're doing it the other way with the supplicant going into the boot file, the problem being there is that you might not see everything on the screen, and you might not be able to get into it. But you should be able to get into it if you do what I've said here. If you go into your connected devices, into your wireless connections, and it should come up somewhere with Pi star, and take a note of it, come off this, and then get into it and do your setups. So there we are. But it's not that difficult. Any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer. Especially if I'll need to add to the comments where you go to set up the OLED as well. I'll get that done after I've posted this video up. Thanks guys for watching. I hope this is of use. I hope it's not too fragmented. I hope it's not too raw for you guys. We don't want that, but hopefully you can do it and so on. But like I say, the process is similar on a 3, Pi 3 or 4. Although I think there's a small modification you have to do to the hat if you're using a Pi 4. I wouldn't use a Pi 5 on it, that's far too expensive. One of the older ones is fine, you pick them up cheap. A 3, 3B, etc. will work perfectly well. These do, but they don't have Wi-Fi, you've got to use a wee dongle. The zeros are a wee bit more fiddly, to be honest with you. They are a little bit more difficult to do. But I can explain that maybe if there's some interest in another video. Okay, thanks for watching guys, take care. Please subscribe if you wish, that's always useful, and pass it around your mates. Okay, cheers.